My second upload for today is with regards to the issue of being a victim of violations and vendettas of hate crime. As I've mentioned, since I gave birth and since I was married in 2015, the violations I've been experiencing have been quite arduous. The topic that I'm about to discuss is very complex and a highly sensitive issue. It's the personal stance, position, perspective of a victim that has experienced violence, assault, etc., etc. The issues involved in human rights violations, especially as a victim of assault, involve denigration, defamation, and displacement. When a victim is overcoming the harassment and assaults of others, all efforts to safeguard guilty culprits are based basically on defaming the character, the victim that is trying to overcome the assaultive victimization and violations. The insulting and injurious aspect of this is the attempt of guilty culprits to denigrate and defame a person's competence and capabilities. The known aspect that is common knowledge that I'm referring to is gaslighting. The victim is oftentimes targeted as being mentally unstable, mentally unwell, mentally incapable. So these are mind games and psychological ploys and tactics that guilty culprits employ and apply to debase a victim's credibility. The issue of defamation of a person's character and reputation and good name isn't just to disrespect the person's credibility, but also to disrespect the person's, the victim's abilities for employment and for other roles in society. As a victim, my professional career has been tarnished with defamation. The defamation I've experienced is unsubstantiated. The horrendous comments and claims that have been highly untrue about me have affected my personal livelihood and my professional career. The people harassing my human rights as a victim have also been responsible for displacement that have involved a lot of illegalities. As I've mentioned in previous uploads, my hierarchy of needs has been intentionally desecrated. My hierarchy of needs involve medical care, profession, shelter, nutrition, and my legal rights, and my right also to information. All of these things that I'm entitled to as my needs, not my wants, my needs, have intentionally been withheld. And this is 2020. As an educated professional and as a law-abiding citizen, as a member of the fellowship, as a peaceful citizen that has endured this assault of my human rights, and as a victim of hate crime, the efforts of those changing their tune, changing their hymn sheet, changing all aspects of the circumstances, changing their stories, have continuously violated my personal life and my privacy. As a victim, I don't have a bank account. As a victim, I don't have a career. As a victim, my marital home has also been affected. As a victim, my financial wealth and earnings have been affected. So this is what has happened, and this is what is involved as a person that is being violated and victimized unjustifiably in society due to guilty culprits that are safeguarding their stance as defamers. So for those that are also victims of such circumstances, the issue of advocacy and supports that victims are entitled to, those services and supports that are withheld from a person experiencing injustice, is not easy to work through such a process as this that I'm experiencing. My legal rights have been disrespected. Advocacy with regards to the medical incompetence that has been occurring has also been withheld from me. My professional opportunities have been pillaged by individuals that have defamed and debased and denigrated my hierarchy of needs. This is what hate crime is, and this is what is happening in 2020. The violation of privacy is in many forms. A person's private residence being trespassed, and a person's technological data. I don't use internet regularly. It's not safe these days, as we all know, to be accessing online material. In the past 2 years, my technological data has been violated, hence the obstruction of supports that I have sought. The issue of privacy, as I've mentioned in my previous upload, privacy is priceless, and people that have no respect for another person's privacy and that continuously violate have perpetrated one of the most horrendous assaults of human rights unjustifiably. This issue of victim support and victim assistance that is the topic of this upload is a huge concern for me. As a victim that hasn't a bank account, that hasn't, or that has consciously chosen not to use online data, that has consciously chosen to live minimally simply due to people that have stolen belongings of mine, that have violated my dwellings and have accessed and violated my personal belongings. All of these aspects of being violated are what I am contending with. And this has been the case since 2015, when I was married and gave birth. The issue of defamation and the collectively orchestrated vendetta of individuals disrespecting a person with lies and falsehoods and false complaints is another tactic that I am contending with. There are culprits of hate crime that are continuously exacerbating the initial wrongdoings that have been occurring. The concept, the thought, the notion of guilty culprits continuously exacerbating a situation that is already pretty bad, with worse offences and worse falsehoods and false claims, etc., 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 is a pretty insane situation. The role of authorities for victims is to ensure that a citizen that is law abiding has their safety respected. Authorities and politicians and civil liberty representatives have an obligation to ensure that guilty culprits aren't facilitated in further offences against any individual. So, this upload, as a victim and a survivor of hate crime and human rights violations, is basically with regards to justice and the advocacy and supports and protection that a victim is entitled to within a community and within society. Those people endangering human life, be it young or old, either with physical assault or verbal assault, directly or indirectly, with false claims or with direct insults, etc., 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 withholding information and withholding legal rights, etc., are all the issues that have a huge concern for me. This issue that I'm experiencing as a mother with only the past 4 years, and as a married woman, deserted, whose marital rights have been disrespected, where there's been trespassing, where there's been financial abuse, etc., etc. As a victim, this is a very difficult circumstance, and professionals that have been responsible, that have participated, or that have facilitated directly or indirectly are as culpable as the individuals orchestrating assaults of human rights. So this upload is with regard to the role of victim support agencies, advocacy groups, and movements for the safety of all citizens' civil liberties. They say a lie can travel faster before the truth can put its pants on. The lies that have been networked with regards to this vendetta have been very, very, very upsetting. My career has been only in education. There is defamation to say otherwise. My private living spaces have been violated and trespassed upon. The issue of professionals that have imposed and that have by hook or by crook tried to justify their intrusions in my personal private life have also been quite serious. There are professionals that have lied and defamed, and I have had no advocacy, no legal support, and no protection provided, and the guilty culprits have been incessant in the damages they are causing. So, today, on the 15th of May, the issue of being victimised and violated without the advocacy that victims are entitled to, the safety that victims are entitled to from a constitutional and legal perspective, is my concern. My legal rights deserve to be respected as much as anybody's. My privacy deserves to be respected as much as anybody else's. Those people that have imposed and intruded in my life and that have caused very serious damage and that are very guilty culprits are not, in any justifiable sense, excused from the offences they have perpetrated against me. Spiritual violence and the bodily integrity violations and medical incompetence is one very serious aspect, but to experience financial theft and abuse and the issue of homelessness with my marital home and whatnot being an issue of contention also due to the illegalities occurring and the people intruding that have discussed matters that not even a guard would ask you. These people have discussed matters that are not relevant or of any interest to them at all at all. The lack of courtesy and the disrespect of individuals discussing matters that are not of their concern is highly intrusive and highly embarrassing and highly disrespectful to human rights. So, as a victim, this is for the interest of victim support groups and UN agencies and the Department of Justice as well. And as a person that has contacted the relevant agencies, the Ombudsman, I've been on to the Department of Justice, whoever is obstructing me from having my safety and freedom and my rights and my financial success and abundance from being attained, I'm wondering what justifiable reason have the social trendsetters, social influencers, and the defamers of this circumstance got for all their wrongdoings. For 2020, for this to be occurring is quite shocking, but this is what is happening. And as a new mother, and as a married woman, and as an educator, and as a humanitarian, I'm highly concerned about what is being facilitated. So, for the interest of the Department of Justice and for the interest of victim support groups, I'd appreciate it highly if those individuals that have nothing but false claims to cause trouble with and very dangerous defamation also would be confronted with their lies and disrespect to civil liberties. The Department of Justice have been contacted, and I'm waiting for the Department of Justice to contact me. And I'm waiting for the politicians that I've been contacting to contact me. And there is an obstruction of justice. There is a perversion of justice. There is very serious financial abuse and theft occurring. I've mentioned in my previous upload with regards to the spiritual violence that's been happening. And as regards the professionals that haven't been professional and that have nothing to have resorted to except insults and defamatory claims and false facts, I'm highly concerned that this isn't being acknowledged for the serious issue that it is. So for today, that's my second upload. This is for the interest of, as I've mentioned, the Department of Justice. I'm in Tralee, County Kerry, Ireland. My health has been damaged and I've experienced financial abuse and professional losses also. As I've mentioned, the relevant agencies have had the relevant reports submitted both to the UN and within Ireland also. I'm still waiting for an acknowledgement. So while my health is deteriorating and while I'm looking after the medical incompetence that the professionals couldn't respect and care for, or the medical competence that they should have respected and the medical duties and obligations that they should have respected, I'm awaiting the Department of Justice to rectify the wrongdoings and offences that I'm experiencing. So as a peaceful citizen, I hope the civil liberty agencies are fully aware of the dangerous offences, the dangerous lies, the dangerous complaints and wrongdoings that are all being perpetrated as a consequence of not only revenge porn, but hate crime. So if there's any respect for the Declaration and Constitution of this country, the Department of Justice, I hope, understands the sinister nature of what is occurring. And as regards the institution of marriage and the matters of sanity and sobriety with the fellowship, I hope the professionals that have nothing to resort to except falsehoods, exacerbating the original wrongdoing that occurred, understand how serious a circumstance this all is. So that's my second upload for today. This is for the interest of those maintaining and respecting human rights and safeguarding the safety of women and children and all individuals in society, and safeguarding the right to privacy, safeguarding the right to health, etc. And hopefully, the UN agencies will understand how sinister a circumstance has been caused.